Hey guys, hope you had a great weekend. I just got back from my kids' race. It was their final one, actually. They race every Sunday for 6 weeks. And then today was when they got to go on the podium. My second oldest, Jana, got silver. And then her friend who was running with her got bronze. So that was cool. Them both on the podium together. And then my third daughter got bronze, Jessa, with the glasses. So was really excited because we didn't know if she would get third or fourth. So she made the podium. My other two, my oldest Josie, my youngest Jed, did not win. And hey, they got to learn you can't always get a trophy. The earlier kids learn that, the better. It makes them want to work harder, the next time. So, but anyways, guys, I want to talk about the plan for this upcoming week. So tomorrow, I want to see how these Chinese stocks perform. Obviously, they had their best week since 2008. So I'm hoping it dips tomorrow to get a breather where some of us can get in if you didn't get in yet with some of these Chinese names. Obviously, I put some out last week and the week before, okay? And then like with the data center space and Canadian Solar I just put out today. I put out Melco Resorts. I also was talking about Alibaba and Pinduoduo as well as Baidu. Okay, many plays there. Obviously, these stocks that have been left for dead. We know a lot of the stocks are overvalued in the US, so investors are now turning to China. And with the stimulus now, this could be an inflection point. And so you want to have some exposure to China. And one way to do that is Canadian Solar, guys, ticker symbol CSIQ. I put out that alert earlier today, letting you know about it, why I like the company. It is so cheap, guys. And this company is legit. I mean, they had record net income and same with revenue. And yes, because of interest rates being higher, that affected the solar industry. And this company has high exposure to China. They have the majority of their revenue comes from China, and the CEO and founder is Chinese. And like I said, several hubs out there in China. So that's what's great with that stimulus package. It directly helps Canadian Solar. Plus it helps them in the US because we know interest rate cuts are helping the whole solar sector in general because we know that's an interest rate sensitive sector. Another one I recommended was Solar Edge when it was at 17, 18 bucks a share. Obviously that's popped a little bit more now. So that one moves quicker, and that does have more negative news, from past earnings reports that haven't been good. Whereas Canadian Solar, doesn't have that dark cloud over it right now. Okay, but like I said, Solar Edge is so beaten up, guys, being at $20-something per share right now, the low 20s, and this thing was at like 300. Where if it ever did recover one day, that would be insane. Okay, but Canadian Solar is even more cheaply valued right now, okay? And so I like this play. I think it has more room to recover because it has that exposure to China as well as the US and other, parts of the world as well. So CSIQ, next one on the list here is CLSK, Clean Spark. I know this is a new one. You haven't heard me talk about this. I usually stay away from the miners, but I know a lot of you talk about the miners. And if Bitcoin goes up, the miners are going to go up too. So you can make some money. I prefer Bitcoin. I have a decent amount of that, okay, in my long-term account that I'm just letting ride. I have a little Ethereum and then a small amount of Shiba Inu and Dogecoin, okay? But Bitcoin, I'd rather own that directly because there's price targets for over 1 million one day. And with the halving happening every 4 years and the supply being reduced, it's just simple supply and demand that obviously the less Bitcoin there is, the more it's going to go up in price, guys. So it's a no-brainer for me, especially now that there's Bitcoin ETFs and the institutions and big money's behind it. And possibly being on the strategic reserve. I don't know if that would get approved, but just Trump talking about that, okay, it's exciting where Bitcoin could go, guys, okay? So you got to own that long. That's one where you could be kicking yourself down the road that you didn't because, again, it's simple supply and demand. So I just think it's going to keep going up over time. So Clean Spark is a Bitcoin miner in that space that is down about 58%, okay, year to date, somewhere around there. So it's beaten up and it's going to climb back if Bitcoin continues to go higher, which I do believe over the last 3 months of the year, I think it will eventually go higher. So we got to see October. We know October can be a volatile month. There's uncertainty with the election coming up, so it's going to get crazy, guys. There will be dip buying opportunities, so you do not need to rush into anything. If you're feeling FOMO right now, just take a deep breath, relax. We're going to get some opportunities here. So these China stocks that have rallied, I would try to wait for a pullback. Okay, Canadian Solar was up, for example, 8% or so. So if you can catch a 2%, 3% pullback at some point, whether it be the pre-market during the day, then that's when I will be looking to add to some of my names that I'm holding long. Okay, so in my long account, just I own quite a few stocks, but I wanted to have some Chinese exposure while it was beaten up in case they do recover one day. So I own Alibaba, JD.com, Baidu, Pinduoduo, Melco Resorts, okay, Canadian Solar, VNet, which is in the data center space. Remember, they're spending heavily out in China right now, more than the US and other countries combined on AI infrastructure. So they don't have to rely on Taiwan Semiconductor or NVIDIA. They want to have their own there. And so that's going to benefit VNet, which is a data center stock. Just know they have a lot of debt, these Chinese companies. That's the one downside. But I still think with how much they're beaten up, they have room to recover. So that's my one play with the data center space out there in China. And so like I said, those are some ones you can look at there. I think I'm missing one out there. I don't care for the EV sector as much because it's cutthroat. A lot of these CEOs have been saying this on the management call or the conference call, the earnings conference call, I should say, about the future. Like Li Auto's CEO, I remember reading that and saying, he said they had to reduce their prices. It's cutthroat competition. And so their margins are coming down. And if they couldn't make money when interest rates, right, were very low a long time ago, I know interest rates were higher, which made it harder. But if they haven't been able to be profitable up to this point, then I don't want to touch them. And that includes NIO. Okay, that includes other Chinese stocks like XPeng. Okay, but Li Auto is better. Okay, but I still don't want to play that space personally. I know a lot of people are asking about NIO. Just not my cup of tea, and it's okay, guys. You don't have to go with what everybody likes. Stick to what you like. I know the margins are small, and like I said, they're still taking heavy losses, and I know that could change one day, right? But I'll believe it when I see it. So BYD, if I had to choose an EV stock out in China, that's my top one because they're the number one dog, even above Tesla. And they have shipping, boats now, or I shouldn't say boats, ships that are taking cars around the world and delivering them. Now, there will be tariffs. Obviously, we're not going to see those vehicles in our country, I hope, okay? But a lot of other countries, it is happening. So they're the number one in the world right now with EVs, and they have the battery division. They're going to get into so much more, I believe, too. Warren Buffett's behind that stock. So anyways, that's my top one in that space. Aside from Tesla, guys, don't worry. I haven't forgot that one. I include that with the US, okay? But they are benefiting from what's going on in China as well. More money for the consumer out there, right? That's going to help Tesla, okay? So that's why you've seen the stock rally. And we got the robo-taxi event going on. So that could get things, popping again. Or it could be a sell the news event. Just depends how good the event is, okay? Hopefully there's some surprises there. And remember, NVIDIA is in the self-driving space too. So that's the next thing for them as well. That's why I think NVIDIA is going to keep doing okay, all right? So I'll always be watching that. That's another stock I'm watching. Every day I watch NVIDIA because they're the bellwether, right, for the rest of the stock market, specifically the AI stocks, okay? If NVIDIA is going up, then other stocks are probably doing well. Okay, I like Marvell. I mentioned that one. I own that long. Okay, that's more of a sleeper stock, and the stock price has been flat this year, believe it or not. So you can get in on a great AI semiconductor stock who has good market share with what they do, guys. I would check it out. I put a post that 70% of their revenue now is from data center. It's going to keep increasing. And while the other divisions, are slowly bottoming right now, those are going to start recovering. And then it's going to be full on, and you'll wish you were already in the stock. So I like Marvell long. Okay, you don't need to trade that short term. I would just hold that. Same as Micron. Give it a year or two. Okay, at least there. So Micron's the other one, I've been watching. Dipped down to 107 and went as high as 114, in the pre-market or whatever it got up to before coming back down to 107. And this rally's not over. I know it. I know this is going to slowly but surely keep climbing back because it was unnecessarily beaten up. The fears over, right, the slowdown with the PC sales, the smartphones, right, losing, or the price of memory chips going down. None of that happened, guys, okay? So this stock has room to recover, so be patient with that one. And then, Upstart, I'll always be watching that one as well, guys, and we'll see what happens there, okay? But those are 5. So again, I'll list them. CSIQ, CleanSpark, which is CLSK ticker symbol, and then MU for Micron, and then NVIDIA and Upstart. I'll be keeping my eye on those guys. But drop me a comment. Let me know, what do you guys think of anything you heard this weekend, or is there a stock that you really like that you think is super undervalued that people are going to start coming into? Drop me a line. I love hearing your guys' input as well, guys. But this is what I'm looking at personally heading into tomorrow.